All right, everybody, we're going to wrap up the week here. This is going to be the Friday recap. These are the trades that I made this morning and also made a few in the afternoon. So let's take a look at everything. We're going to start off with the mini Russell. Now, if you were with us this morning during that first 30 minutes, you know I took a couple trades. Let's start off with the mini Russell. The only indice that I traded, I did not trade E-mini S&P. I didn't trade anything on the NASDAQ. But I did trade the mini Russell. Once again, mini Russell is one of my favorites. And we did come in with an HF2 short. Now, we didn't actually even get close to hitting target until after the opening. Now, this is one of those Fridays where I really thought it was going to be a slow day. But once again, you can't judge a Friday based on that. A lot of people I know don't trade on Fridays. But I think before you just make that kind of decision not to trade, if you've been trading for a while, I think it's important to go back and look at your trades, break them down. Are you profitable on Fridays? If you are not, then that would make sense not to trade on Fridays. And that's exactly what I did several years ago. And what I found out, to my surprise, is that actually I was profitable on Fridays. So that's why I continue to trade on Fridays. And this is a good example because really this morning, nothing was really moving. I didn't think I was going to have any trades. And finally, things started kicking in, and then we ended up having some really nice trades. So, starting off the Russell, and then we'll look at the stocks. Okay, so mini Russell, once again, HF2 short came in. This came in shortly after 9 o'clock. I think actually it came right on the top of the hour at 9 o'clock. Once again, market opens at 9:30 Eastern Time. Always like to hold if I can till the opening bell, because that's a lot of times when we see those spikes. And once again, that's exactly what we saw. So 2 minutes in, we did have that spike, hit my target down here, and I was done with the Russell. I did not trade any other indices. Once again, I'm not trading any energies right now. I'm not trading any metals. I think that's going to change, but we're going to continue to keep an eye on it and see. Right now, looking at the action today, and it's hard to tell on a Friday whether it's going to be the action is going to pick up or not. Wait and see what we do Sunday night and going into Monday. I'll decide whether I want to go ahead and start trading the metals again or maybe even the energies. All right. So let's take a look at the stocks. Starting off with let's see here. First trade I put on, and also this was this morning as well. This came in at the pretty much at the same time I was putting on the mini Russell, and that's going to be TZA. TZA. Let's look at TZA. All right, here we are, TZA. Okay, before we get started, I've been getting a lot of requests regarding an article that I wrote back in the 80s talking about the holographic market. And even though I have several videos on that on my YouTube channel, Innovative Trading Strategies, it's probably time for a refresher to get people up to speed that haven't seen it. So the markets very much display themselves like a hologram, and the system that I'm trading is based off of that, okay? And I used a hologram as basically, it's a good way of describing my approach. It's a good analogy in the way that I look at the markets and how the markets very much will provide us with future market direction if we understand the inputs that are creating the action. All right, I think that's the best way I can put it. But I will do a video. Be looking for that. We'll get everybody up to speed. And it's really simplistic because it all really is, every single one of those components can be broken down into a pattern. And then you just look at a combination of the patterns. So anyway, we'll talk more about that in an upcoming video, but let's look to see what we did today on TZ. TZA, once again, shortly after 9 o'clock, I did buy. This was, in this case, was an HF1. Of course, you know I love HF1s. It was an HF1 buy. I did have to hold for a while, once again, and I always, like I said, right, want to hang in here until we can get that opening. And sure enough, once we hit the opening, I hit two levels. I had 1 and 2. I went ahead, and yes, I went ahead and exited after taking out the second level. It came in pretty quick. I wasn't going to get greedy later on. We did have higher levels that Einstein was showing, but it being a Friday, I wanted to be a little bit more conservative and not really ride it, though obviously you could have had some more opportunities. But had it been earlier in the week, and if I had seen a lot more strength coming in, going through this first level, I may have done it. Now, the thing about these levels, every single one of these levels, all right, have the same probability of hitting. It's just that some will take longer. Okay, so the probabilities remain the same. It's just that the further out I go in time, all right, as Einstein starts projecting further and further out, then still has the high probability of being hit. It's just that it may take longer in order to hit that. So the question is, as a day trader or as a scalper, that's going to be something whether you want to go a little bit further and hold it longer, or go ahead and just go for those shorter targets and get out sooner. Once again, there's no right and there's no wrong answer. All right, I've had trades where I've gotten out on the first level, and then all of a sudden you see it go through 3 and 4 levels, and then sometimes I've seen it go through 1, 2, thinking it's going to go to 3 and 4, and it doesn't happen until an hour or so later. And so that's something that you always have to keep in mind whenever you're trading using the patterns and using Einstein. But nonetheless, the probabilities remain the same, and that's going to be the most important, because we can work with money management and work with size when it comes to understanding our probabilities. That's all it is. Probabilities doesn't mean that you're going to be a successful trader, but it does allow us to work with size, adjusting our size. All right. So that being said, nice little trade on TZA. Wasn't the biggest trade I made. I'll show you that here in a minute. But I also like to show you one of the losers that I took this morning. So let's take a look at that losing trade. All right. So here's a situation where my target was really, really tight. Probably shouldn't even have taken it, but once I got in, and this was right before the opening bell, taking NKLA, right before the opening bell, we did have a nice little pop up. Now, I had a couple levels. Had a level sitting up here, but the difference wasn't much. 33 to what? 35, 36? Just not enough. I was going to at least try to get over 40. It did hit this first level. It never hit 40. Once it started flushing hard like this, I went ahead and I got out and took my loss. So this is a good example of, unlike the other trade where you saw just a lot of strength coming in, going through that second, and then going up even higher. Sometimes they fail, and that's, once again, this is a game of probabilities, okay? A game of probabilities. And so looking at the order flow, I could see, obviously, that we didn't have a whole lot of commitment and buyers coming into this market. And I was a little concerned about even getting in on it, looking at this kind of action. All right, so, I mean, had I paid a little bit more attention to this type of action, just up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, probably wouldn't have taken this trade. But I did, and it is what it is. But I did have some other nice trades, so let's take a look at the overall results for the day. Coming in with, of course, that mini Russell short, nice little trade, 624. The big trade was not TZA. That was my first trade of the day, but I did come in, and GRPN had a really nice run at the end of the day, which really surprised me. I actually got out a little bit early on GRPN because it was running pretty much up to the close, and I did get out because I had a pretty nice little profit. Probably could have run it even further because we had more targets, but it was getting too close to the end of the day, and I was really afraid of a flush. So, but GRPN, once again, that's been on my radar. I've been trading that here for the last few weeks, so I like GRPN. TECS was another one also that had a nice little run. TECS was one that's been on my radar for a while, so I felt comfortable with that. FFEI, the other day I traded a little bit of that. Didn't make much of that. Little scalp there. HSDT, all these other ones were pretty much just getting in and trying to hit that first target, and then getting out, and that's pretty much what I did. But nonetheless, still not a bad day overall for a Friday. So that's what I'm talking about. You cannot judge a Friday just on the fact that people say it's a slow day. Not always. All right. So the key to this is going to be first thing in the morning. Watch the action. This morning, I really thought that it was going to be a dead day. And I even mentioned it, saying, but we got to really see what happens after the opening and then that's when everything woke up right after the opening. So, you know, when you're trading on a Friday, a lot of times, you know, the early morning session can give you some indication of what's going to happen, but you're really not going to know it until that market opens, right? And then you see that volatility come in, which pretty much happened on the mini Russell 2 short, just staying there short. All of a sudden, then it just has a nice little break, and it went way down, way down. So anyway, that's going to do it. Everybody have a great weekend. Be looking for that video. I'll do another recap on the holographic market. And if you need further information, you can get a hold of me via my website, innovativetradingstrategies.com. Everybody have a safe weekend, and hopefully we'll see you back first thing Monday morning. Take care.